Ooh, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am making a video today on Steel Vision about incomes for team games specifically. And I'm going to be talking about 2v2s, 3v3s, and 4v4s. And there's a team tournament coming up, and there's been some kind of debate about what the meta is and what the incomes you should play, and how your team composition should be with income. So I'm going to talk about what, if you're a new player, an experienced player, kind of what you want to play. If you're a new player to the game and you don't really know much about what's going on, there's about, 6 incomes in the game. There's Balance, Vanguard, Maverick, Juggernaut, Flatline, and V for Victory. And they all kind of do different things and have different advantages. As you can see, the Juggernaut player has a late game income, Balance player kind of has an in-between income, and Vanguard has the very early income. And then you have Maverick, Flatline, and V for Victory, which kind of have a little, spin on all those late, medium, and early incomes. I don't recommend ever playing Flatline 14 games for 2v2s, 3v3s, or 4v4s. I'm not going to be talking about 1v1s today or 10v10s. Those are a totally different genre. And then Maverick, you can play. You can kind of move it up into play Vanguard, but it's a little, it's a little more dicey, I think. And it's because of that C phase. We'll talk about that a little later. And then V for Victory, you can definitely play this. It's a really good income, but, again, it's a little more specialized. But again, we'll go back to, if you're a new player, for example, what income should you use out of these 6? I recommend Balance. If you're a new player, most likely you're going to be playing guys that are a lot more experienced than you, are going to be a little bit more aggressive, and you're going to want some more forgiving points. Most players in team games for 3v3s and 4v4s are all playing Juggernaut. Just like 90% of your games, you're only going to be seeing Juggernaut on the field. So I recommend playing Balance because you have a 200-point bonus in B phase. You have the same amount of points to the Juggernaut in A, but in B phase you make 135, he makes 115, and each phase is 10 minutes. So you got 10 minutes in A, 10 minutes in B, and then infinite for C. But you're going to be hurting in C phase, but those extra 200 points in B phase when you're losing in A will help you kind of rebound, and you have teammates that can support you at that point. Maybe they've won their front pretty decisively, so they can kind of support you if you're kind of new. I recommend though that you move over to Juggernaut at one point, because Juggernaut is king. And I'm going to talk about why. Okay, so there are kind of 3 bases of incomes for 3v3s and 4v4s that your team are going to be utilizing. They're either going to be using all Vanguard play, all mixed income play, or a Juggernaut build. Or your team's all building Juggernaut, or maybe there's a balance in there. So if a team is running all Juggernaut play, the counter pick to the Juggernaut play is either you go Juggernaut, and you guys can go tit for tat of who can last longer. And these games are lasting, average, I think, just from my experience, is not data driven. 40 minutes is an early game, maybe 30 minutes. If it's a blowout, it's like 20 minutes. Yeah, a long game. I've had games that last for 2 hours. I love these long games. I know the 1v1 community out there, I know you hate the long games, but I love them. I've had the most fun experience of all of SD in these long games. Anyway, back to the subject at hand. Juggernaut. If a whole team's playing Juggernaut, as I said, you can go all Juggernaut against them, which is the norm for most team games. Or you can all run Vanguard, and you all have to run Vanguard. It can't be 1 or 2 of you run Vanguard and 2 of you run Juggernaut, because you need the double tick. If you do not get that double tick as the Vanguard, you're going to be absolutely annihilated in the later game when you have 175 points, and every minute or so you get extra 75 points over the Vanguard, and you're just gonna get destroyed. So what do you do now? You're a Juggernaut. You see the other team's gone Vanguard. What is the counterplay to Vanguard? Obviously, you can go Vanguard, all of you, but you want a guaranteed win, right? So you go mixed income. So you have like maybe 2 guys, 1 guy run Jug, 1 guy run Balance, and 2 guys run Vanguard. You do this mixed income, you will stop in this game, because there's flags on the map, the double tick. You stop the double tick, you'll get to the C phase, and you'll absolutely blow out all of the Vanguard plays, because you have 2 guys that have way more income in the C phase, and you have 2 Vanguards that are probably going to cancel out their 2 Vanguards. So you want to win against a Vanguard play, you play on mixed income. But this is the thing. What happens? And this is why everybody plays Jug right now. If you're the Vanguard team and you realize the enemy team is playing that mixed income, and 8 out of 10 times you're going to lose playing your Vanguard against the mixed income team if they're really organized and you're organized as well. So what do? You go mixed income. And what does the mixed income team do? They go Jug, because they want to beat the mixed income team. So what does the mixed income team do who was the Vanguard team? they're going to go Jug. So everybody's Jug in the end. So it's an arms race. Everybody slowly eats its way up to Jug. And if you see most games out there, everybody's playing Jug. You know, you'll see sometimes Vanguard play when the other team isn't paying attention, and then you're playing a Jug versus Vanguard team. And the Vanguard team is going to absolutely steamroll. Okay, so why is this? It's because of the flag positioning. But we'll look at the maps. We'll look at a map in a second. First, I want to talk about 2v2s. For 2v2s, the best income, I think, or the two best incomes, is Vanguard and Balance. Obviously, there's exceptions. I think you can run Maverick. I think you can run V for Victory. I don't think you run Flatline. Flatline's just kind of useless in every regard. And you don't run Juggernaut. So, for 2v2s. You want to run Balance and Vanguard. If you have, and this is the thing, most people in 2v2s, in my experience, are either both players and then 2v2s are both playing Vanguard. That's normal. There's also a thing where one guy runs Balance and the other guy runs Vanguard. You do not want to be in a situation where you're facing two Vanguards and you have two Balances as your team. The problem is if you're the guys with two Balance players, you're going to be really hurting for points in that A phase. And if there's any bad moves that happens on your side and one of you kind of like breaking down a little bit, the Vanguard is continuously going to put pressure on you and you're going to lose out in that fight. So having one extra Vanguard and one Balance is a really good duo because you can kind of react to the Balance being hurt a little bit in the A phase. But that's just my opinion. You can obviously pull off two Balances as well, but it's just for, in general speaking. So Vanguard and Balance, I think, are king in the 2v2 theater. I think Juggernaut is king in the 3v3 and 4v4 meta. And now, let's go to the map, for example. Let's just go to a quick play, solo, skirmish, and we'll launch. We're going on to Shredrin. It's a 4v4 map, really popular. I think it's a really good deck. Sorry, good map. So, I'm just zooming in. Sorry, it's taking a little while. We're loading in. But the reason why mixed income is so effective is that you can give up flags deliberately, just one flag, and put the Jug in a good spot that's defensible, really easy to defend, so that they can just build up points for the later game phases, and the Vanguards can't really do too much damage. So we'll look at Shredrin, for example. We're on the blue side. So if you're on the red side here, there's 3 flags on your side. It's kind of brutal for you if you lose your 3 flags. It's pretty key to the overall theater of war. So, but if you're the Juggernaut, this is just my idea. If you're the Juggernaut right now, and you're playing against the red team that's all Vanguard, and you have 2 guys playing Vanguard in your blue team, you got 1 guy playing Balance, and you got a Jug. Where are you going to put your Jug? You want to put the Jug player where there's the least amount of flags to lose. There's a lot of flags to lose in this position. There's 2 to 3 flags to lose in this position. There's usually only 1 flag to lose that position. Maybe they can get back here, but not normally. This flag up here, pretty hard to grab. Not a guarantee that anybody's ever going to get it. So put the Jug player on this position right now. He can build up points. It's pretty hard to get down here, take these flags, and he's just lost 1 flag. And you guys can take that because you just don't need a double tick. And who knows, maybe one of your players elsewhere can make up the difference. Maybe you can take the flag in the town. It means nothing then. And that Jug player who's playing against a Vanguard can just camp down here at the bottom, build up resources. Maybe this Vanguard player, if he's smart, will redirect forces to another location to help make a breakthrough. And then that Jug player can keep just sending some supporting units to help that player. So it's really key to kind of think about, hey, this spot is not really, there's not much to gain flags wise. We can give up 1 flag for having a Jug player that's going to dominate in the C phase. Because a Jug player can just fight everywhere in the late game. He's just going to have so much excess income. Also, to be wary, it's much harder to double tick in a team game than it is in a 1v1. It's just like a 1v1 map right now. Like if you look at my cursor, this is the size of a 1v1 map. In a normal team game, 4v4 or 3v3, this is your lane. You have 1 lane coming from here. You have a lane from here to here. And look, this is your lane right here. And this guy has even entire lane. Look at that. That's it. That's his entire lane. You have a lane in this location. And this is a pretty wide location. This is kind of where a heavy tank division usually goes. And then you have a lane up here. So they're much tighter than they are in a 1v1. Meaning that's much harder to push. And it's a lot more grindy. So there's a lot more building up to make really good push breakthroughs. And yeah, so that's just the thing. It's the nature of a different game mode. So I definitely recommend if you're a Balance, for example, and you're going to be playing a Juggernaut guy, and you're being hit hard, you may lose 1 flag, but you might want to have that B phase income to kind of solidify your defense line in B phase so that you can either get help from a teammate later on, later phases, and then also stop the bleeding on your front. So that's what balanced really good. Get that extra 200 points. It can really help. But Jug is king on the battlefield. It's, as I say before, it's an arms race. You know, they're gonna run Vanguard. You're gonna run that mixed income. They're gonna get steam. They're not gonna get that double tick, and they're gonna want to run heavier income, later income the next game, and then you're gonna want to do the same thing, and then everybody just goes Jug, and that's why you see everybody, as I said before, you're just seeing Jug play after Jug play. But you can see the lanes. We can talk about in the future if people really are interested. I could talk about what the average lane is for different maps. I know this is a lane on Shredren, this is a lane on, and this is also a lane, and then this is your fourth lane. 2v2s, I recommend. This is usually the 2v2 side. Oh, actually, sorry. A 2v2 map is a little bigger. In 2v2, you have this much map. So your lane's bigger because like you'll split the lane where it's like this, and then you'll have this guy. So it's a lot larger. So that's what I'm saying. The earlier incomes and those larger maps are more utilized. So you have like, you know, you have a Vanguard, maybe a balance, another Vanguard and a balance for each of these lanes. Now I can talk about 2v2 maps. You guys are interested as well. How to split some of them. Some people don't know how to split them. Me and my partner Jack are playing in the 2v2 Terrible Division Tournament, and just in the early rounds, you can kind of see that some guys split the map kind of awkwardly. That kind of leads them to, I think, leads to defeat. Where, you know, that's just my opinion, but you know, people split up a little differently. I know there's some different ideas about how to split the map, but that's the best. Anyway, as I was saying, guys, Jug is king, and I'm gonna leave it there. Guys, leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you guys around. Thanks for watching.